We're on page 38, exercise 8. Read and translate the following sentences. Let's start with Bechor, number 1.
האב שמר בן ובת והוא שמעה דבר מירושלים. The father guarded the son
Uvat.
and the daughter
Yeah, the father guarded a son and a daughter.
and a daughter. והוא he heard
And he heard, good.
A word from Yerushalayim.
Yes,
Okay.
very good. Yaakov too.
Okay. I have a question about
Yes.
uvat. Is that the gesh is missing from the father?
Right.
Why?
It's not missing. It's
It's not. Isn't the daughter bat?
yeah. If it's usually we have a rule that at the beginning of a word you put the dagesh into that letter.
Automatic.
Oh.
You would think of it as a child.
Yes, but if it's not like here, it's not the beginning of the word uvat, and also we said that we didn't say that, but we just said that instead of ve it changes to u sound, right? Uvat. It's the same thing. Ben. Sometimes we say ven, uven, uvat. Okay, 2.
רות עמדה והיא זכרה איש ואישה ממצרים והיא שמעה אל הנער והיא הלכה אל הנער. Ruth stood and she remembered a man.
Yes.
ואישה. She remembered a man from Egypt.
Ve'isha and
from
isha.
Isha,
What's isha?
man.
Ish is a man.
Oh, woman.
Woman. She remembered a man and a woman
From Mitzrayim, from Egypt.
from Egypt. Good.
He and he.
And she.
Oh, she. She shama. She heard. Shama. She heard to. Wait.
Whenever there's shama el, we translate as listened to.
Oh, listen to. And she listened to Hana'ar, man.
The young man.
The young man. Vihi. Who is he? What is he? And she.
And she. Good.
Walked.
Yes.
El Hanor to the man, to the young woman. Yeah, man.
To the young man. Good. Abo 3.
המשפחה עמדה והיא שמרה בית והיא מלכה. The family stood
Yes.
and she heard. She guarded. She guarded the house, a house, and she ruled.
And she ruled. Good.
And it guarded the house.
Yeah,
No?
it go to the house and it will.
No,
in
he-
English,
He, she.
in English, you say family it, right? But in Hebrew,
It's a family.
you say she. So when you translate in English, you can either say literally to show that you know what you talk. The literal translation, you can say she, or you can change it into proper English and say it. Both are correct. Okay, number 4. Let's give it to Yaakov because it's very similar to 1.
Okay. שמר האב ואישה עמדה והבת הלכה אל מצרים. Okay. שמר guarded האב, the father guarded
Yes.
ואישה
Ha'isha.
והאישה, the father guarded and Isha and stood and Isha the man.
Isha.
Oh, and the woman stood
Yes.
and the daughter walked
Walked.
and the daughter walked to Egypt.
Very good. The father guarded, and the woman stood, and the daughter walked to Egypt. Now let's go back to Bechor number 5.
מלך המלך מירושלים, וכו זכר בחמה ממצרים, וכו חלק את מצרים, וכו שמר בחמה. The king ruled from Jerusalem, and he remembered
Behema.
is it the animal?
Animal, yeah.
And he remembered the animal
An animal
and animal from Jerusalem, from Egypt,
from Egypt.
and he walked to Egypt, and he guarded the animal.
And he guarded an animal. Good. And now I'll go 6.
הנער זכר נערה מירושלים, והוא זכר נערה ממצרים, והוא הלך אל ירושלים. The young man guarded the young woman from...
He remembered.
זכר, remembered. The young man remembered a young woman from Jerusalem, from Jerusalem. And he remembered the young woman from Egypt, and he went to Yuhanan.
Good. Now we go to chapter 6 on page 40, and let's do vocabulary. Ah is brother. Ah is, of course, masculine, brother. Eretz is land or country, and that is feminine. That's why we say aratzot. Aratzot is plural for lands. Derech is road or way, and the word derech can either be masculine or feminine. This is an exception. If you notice that the sentence started using it in feminine, you have to keep it feminine. If you notice the sentence started using it as masculine, you have to keep it masculine.
So in this case then?
No, this is just a word, so it can be either masculine or feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Hem or hema is they. And similarly, and this is for masculine. Similarly, hen or henna is feminine for they.
What does the arrow on top indicate?
The emphasis or accent on which syllable. You don't say hema, you say hema. And henna instead of henna.
So you would say
Henna.
they. So for the mishpacha, for the family, you would say chena hamishpacha because it's feminine.
Yes.
Is it what it means? Okay.
Yes. Now, next word is har. Means mountain, or it's a small mountain, a hill, and that is masculine. So the plural is harim. Yom is day, and that is masculine, and the plural is yamim. Although you do see in the Torah yemot Hamashiach, yemot olam. But the word yom is masculine. The next one is Moav, and that's a name of a country. Moav.
So it's feminine.
Yes. Even though Moav is a name of a person who is a boy, a man.
Right.
So as a name, it's a masculine name, but as a name of a country, it's feminine. Eved means slave or servant, and that's masculine. It comes from the word avodah. Avodah means work. Eved. The 3-letter root, Ayin, Vet, Resh, Avar, means cross over or pass. Ir is a city, and that's a feminine word.
It's like a place, right? So
It's a place, right? It's a feminine word. Ir. Am, a people or a nation, and that's masculine. Amim. Shin Lamed Het is a root for send. Shalach, he sent. Sham is there. Over there. The noun derech may either be masculine or feminine. The word hayom, which means a definite day, which day we're talking about. It's either today, where we're standing, the day that we are standing in, or the day. For example, you can say Vayi hayom, and the day came, and the day arrived, and it was on the day. Or you can say today. When ha is attached to eretz, it becomes haaretz. Instead of haaretz, we say haaretz, meaning the land. In modern language, when we say haaretz or ba'aretz, we mean Israel. The land for Jewish people is always the homeland. Some pronouns have two forms. Both forms have the same meaning and are interchangeable, like hem, hema, or hen, henna. Now let's learn about plural nouns, masculine and feminine plural. English nouns are often made plural by adding the ending s or es to the singular form, like books, wishes. You're adding the s or es. Hebrew nouns are made plural by also adding endings to the singular form. The vowels of the noun often change when the plural ending is added. So not only we add the ending, but often we change the vowels of the word itself. For example, for masculine words, we usually add yud, mem at the end, and the yud changes the previous letter to have a sound e. Like melech becomes melachim. So notice the change in vowels. Instead of two segols, you have a shva and kamatz. And instead of a final shva, you have a chirik, e. Melech, melachim, king, kings. Davar, a word or a thing. Devarim, words or things. Again, instead of two kamatzes, you get a shva and kamatz. Now, feminine plurals. Feminine nouns are usually made plural by adding the ending vav and tav. The vav is a vowel o. Instead of eretz, it's going to be aratzot. Kegoye haratzot. And again, vowels change. Feminine nouns like mishpacha that end with a always lose the letter hey when the feminine plural Shabbat plural Shabbatot. Yeah. Now regular masculine nouns. Now let's quickly go through the nouns that we know now and that are masculine. Ach, brother becomes achim, brothers. Ben, son. Banim, sons. Davar, devarim, word. Har, harim, mountains. Yom, yamim, days. Melech, melachim, kings. Naar, nearim, young men. Eved, avadim, servants. Amim, nations. Regular feminine words. Eretz, aratzot, lands. Behema, behemot, animals. Mishpacha, mishpachot, families. Naara, nearot, young women.
Before we continue, so when you change something like melech to melachim, does it always follow the same pattern where the after the mem, the three dots become two dots?
In a word where you see, in the words that we have so far, we don't have a pattern. Melachim, ne'arim, devarim, they all start out with different vowels. Davar, you have two kamatzes. Melech, you have two segols. Nar, you have two patachs. And in the plural, the vowels are all the same. Right, so for now we don't have a pattern. We go to page 42. Irregular plural nouns. Ish all of a sudden becomes anashim. Ish is a man, anashim is people or men. Isha, a woman, becomes nashim, women. So these you have to remember. Bait, even though it ends with a taf, becomes batim. Bat becomes banot. The nun is inserted. Banot, daughters. Masculine nouns sometimes take the feminine plural ending ot, and feminine nouns sometimes take the masculine plural ending im. So we're going to see some exceptions, like av is masculine father, and fathers is avot.
So you don't say avim.
You don't say avim. Ir is feminine, but when you say plural cities, becomes arim. So the word avot, fathers, is masculine, even though it has a feminine ending. So looking at the ending is not always accurate. It's a good way to see if it's masculine or feminine, but it's not always accurate. And the word arim, cities, is feminine, even though it has a masculine ending. How much time you have? Depending on how fast we do it, either 12 or 15. Now, plural verbs. So far we spoke about plural nouns. What about plural verbs? We learned that there must be agreement between vowels and verbs between nouns and verbs in a sentence. So how do you form a plural verb? We so far only learned past tense, perfect tense. So for each form of the verb, I, you, he, she, there's going to be a different form for a verb. This is starting to get complicated. For example, halach means he went. Halchu means they went. So you add a u to make it plural. Shalhu, shalach is he sent. Shalhu is they sent. Shamar is he guarded. Shamru, they guarded. Zachar, he remembered. Zachru, they remembered. So far all this is in masculine form. They, masculine. In Hebrew, the word they can be masculine, it can be feminine depending on who they are. Same with you. You can be masculine or you can be feminine. This form is used for both masculine and feminine plural subjects. Now this is the only exception. All the other forms have a difference. But past tense, they is the only one where it's the same. Halchu, halchu for both masculine and feminine. So now, haben shamar, the son guarded. Shamar is singular because ben is singular. Shamar is masculine because ben is masculine. Habanim shamru, the sons guarded. Now the word shamru is plural because the word banim is plural. Habanot shamru, the daughters guarded. Again, in this case, the daughters is plural, so shamru is plural, and shamru doesn't change between masculine and feminine, but again, all the other verb forms will change between masculine and feminine. On page 43, we have a chart of all the verbs together, all the nouns that we have learned so far. And you can maybe make a copy and keep it handy. All the verbs in singular form, in plural form, whether it's masculine or feminine, and with a translation.
So, Rabbi, so Ben is son. So
Yes.
Habanim would be the sons, and
Yes.
then Bat
is daughter.
Echa banot.
Yes. Now on the bottom of page 43 there is a note. The plural form of anashim may be translated as men, many men, or as people, which means people includes men and women. So even though the word anashim is masculine, but it can include women also. If there is at least one man and many women, you would call them anashim. The plural form of banim may be translated as sons or as children in general. So if someone asks you, how many banim do you have, and you happen to have only daughters, you don't say, I don't have banim. You answer, I have so and so many daughters, because the question is correct question. How many children you have, how many banim you have. That's in the Torah. In modern Hebrew, they may not use it like that. They might use the word yeladim, children, but in the Torah, the word banim is used for children in general. On page 44, we learn some prefixes which are called prepositions, which unlike in English, in Hebrew they are inseparable, which means they're part of the word. For example, in English, if you want to say from, it's a separate word. In Hebrew, it could be a separate word, min, or it can be just one letter, me. As a letter me, it's an inseparable preposition. In English, it cannot be attached to a word. It has to be a separate word. Or the word el, that means two words. It can either be a separate word, or it can be a prefix which becomes an inseparable preposition, le. 2 or 4. There are some that cannot be separate words and are always inseparable preposition, like ke, as or like, or be, in, with, on. Even though the word, the letter ke can sometimes be used kemo.
With him or like him?
Kemo, it means like. Kemoto means like him, kemota means like her, but the word kemo is like. These prepositions are called inseparable prepositions because they are always attached to other words. So now we're going to make our conversation more complex by adding these prepositions to our speech. For example, b'mishpacha, in a family or with a family. Again, the letter B can mean with.
There are no nikudot. How do you know the difference between b with the two dots and ba? Bebait, babait.
B means indefinite. Ba means definite. So you have to see what you're talking about.
If you're reading like a newspaper, then there are no nikudot.
You have to see from the context. Are we talking about a specific house or a house? A house could be built from wood or stones. His house or this particular house, then you say habait or babait. In this house there is an office. Babait.
Will it be obvious from the context?
Yes, it has to be. If the writer is a good writer, he has to make it obvious.
Okay.
So here we talk about indefinite objects. That's why it's all shva. Av b'mishpacha shamar banim. A father
With a family?
in a family.
Oh, in a family.
Shamar banim guarded sons. Kimelech, as a king. David shamar batim kimelech. David guarded houses as a king. Le Moab, to Moab. Avraham halach le Moab. And even though the word Moab is a definite name of a country, still we don't say La Moab, we say Le Moab. Le'ach, to a brother or for a brother. Haisha halcha le'ach b'Mitzrayim. The woman walked to a brother in Egypt. Even though she could have walked to a specific brother, but apparently she had more than one brother, so we don't know which brother she walked to. Le'ach, to a brother.
So the first one, a father in a family guarded sons. Like even this sentence doesn't make much sense to me. So how do I distinguish if I should translate it in or with? So like a father in a family guarded sons. It kind of
Yes, you could maybe say a father with a family guarded sons. You could. So this sentence would not give you enough information.
Alright, so you always need to look at the context.
Yes. In some circumstances, the inseparable prepositions take other vowels, like ki melachim, as kings. For plural melachim, you say ki. Or the next one is lirushalayim. Even though le Moav is shva, lirushalayim is chirik, e. Ha'achim halchu ki melachim. The brothers walked as kings. Lirushalayim, hema halchu lirushalayim. They went or walked to Jerusalem.
I feel like with the adding, with the additions of all these prepositions, right? I feel like the word becomes just a new word.
And then you
So
can't
you
find
really have
it.
to know the root.
Yes, you have to be very familiar with
The root.
the,
If you don't know the root,
meaning
it'll be
of the
hard.
word. Yes, yes. But you have to do some detective work. You have to look at the word, find out what is the root of it, and then look at the ending, look at the prefix, and try to figure out what it means.
Wow. It takes a lot of skill to know Hebrew.
Yes, but after you use some memorization, it becomes easy. Knowing the rules and some memorization, practice, makes it easy.
Rabbi, but in oral Hebrew, would they say this the same way? Say the brothers walked as kings
Yes.
to Jerusalem. They would have
Yeah.
the same way.
Most
It's
of
not
biblical
some.
Hebrew is similar to modern Hebrew. Now, you know what can give you inspiration to learn any language is to say, little Israeli children, they speak Hebrew.
I can do it too.
I can do it too. Little Chinese boys and girls speak Chinese. I can do it too.
Well, they're immersed in it, there's a difference.
Yes, but don't say it's too complicated to figure out.
No, it's not complicated to figure out, but this needs to be like at least 45 minutes per day
Yeah, you
practice.
need to practice. Yeah.
I'm sure.
I think if you do it consistently every day, maybe 10 minutes is enough, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, does anybody here do it every day for 10-15 minutes?
No.
I do.
If he can do it.
So,
You have nothing else to do, that's why.
so let's try that. 10 minutes a day. To go through, to do as much as you can in 10 minutes. The next day again and again, 10 minutes. It's not a
Rabbi,
lot.
silly question. Is this also considered learning Torah when you're learning the...
Of course, because our goal is not to speak Hebrew with Israelis, but rather to be able to understand the prayer, to understand the
Right.
Chumash. Of
But
course,
I
this
think
is,
on Shabbat, that's what you're asking, right? I think on Shabbat it's more important to read Torah
I
than.
already have my
Yeah, and also like you're supposed to have a set time to learn Torah every day. So I'm saying this could be
yes, this is preparation. You have
put it
to.
into your set
Without
time.
it, you cannot really learn Torah in depth. You will not understand it. Rashi, other commentaries that speak about the meaning of the word, why they translate this word like this and not like that. It's going to be beyond you. You will not be able to understand. All the divrei Torah that concentrate on nuances in spelling and grammar, you will not be able to understand it.
But you learned yourself as a grown up, right? So it's not,
I took modern Hebrew for 2 years in high school as a foreign language, so I learned basics. And then when I was in yeshiva, I, like you said, immersed in it. I learned the vocabulary. I tried to figure out using my basic skills from high school. I tried to figure out how it works. And then also I went through this book with the previous class that helped also.
Everything else is excess.
On page 45, we start learning about definite nouns, and how do prepositions connect to definite nouns. When the prepositions be, ke, le are attached to a word with a hey, with ha, with a definite v, the following changes take place. The hey is dropped. You don't see hey. So you might say, there is no hey. But really, the hey is absorbed into the preposition. How is it absorbed into preposition? Because any vowel that appeared under hey is transferred to the preposition. So instead of le, it becomes la. Instead of ke, it becomes ka. Instead of be, it becomes ba. So, for example, it becomes, and any dagesh that appeared in the first letter after following hey is preserved. Av, le av, if it's indefinite. If you have ha'av, then it becomes la'av. Instead of le'av, la'av. Or bait, be-vait, ha-bait becomes ba-bait. So if you say ba-bait, it becomes definite. Be-bait, indefinite. So the famous Israeli saying, if someone asks you, where are you going? You say, habaita. Home. Which home? You say the home. Habaita, the home. What is the home for you? Your own home.
Wait, why'd you put habayit?
My house.
Ta. Why'd you put ta? Don't you
Bait.
put habayit?
Rashi says numerous times in Chumash that whenever you have a hey added to a word, it replaces lamed in the beginning. So instead of saying la bait, you say habaita. So la bait is equivalent to habaita. Instead of saying la, you say baita, and instead of la absorbing the ha is preserved. Ha baita.
This is only in modern? No.
No,
Rashi
this is
gotta be
taken
biblical.
from biblical Hebrew. If you don't know biblical Hebrew, habayit is not going to make sense. Like he said, why ta? Instead of habayit, you say habayta. So ta means two, the hey at the end. Okay, remember that a proper noun, a specific person or place, cannot take the definite hey. Therefore, it cannot take la ka ba. That's why when we said Moav, even though it's definite, we said le Moav, not la Moav.
Rabbi, over here, you see how it says on page 45, but buy it?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be in-house? Wouldn't you have to put habayit?
That's what we said, that hey is absorbed into the prefix. The hey is dropped, and its vowel is given to the prefix. So instead of be-bite, it becomes ba-bite, and hey is dropped.
I get it. So confusing.
So instead, even though in the house is going to be ba-bite, but in Egypt, which is also definite, is going to be be-mitzrayim. Okay, and let's quickly go through the examples on the bottom of page 45. Habat amda bebait. The daughter stood in a house. Habat amda babait. The daughter stood in the house.
Same thing.
One is a house, one is
right.
the house. Ha'ish avar li'ir. The man crossed over to a city. Ha'ish avar la'ir. The man crossed over to the city. Malach David kemelech. David ruled as a king. Malach David kamelech. David ruled as the king.
The vowel, the guess changes. That makes a difference.
Yes, also the guess changes. Now, more about inseparable preposition. The preposition le is often interchangeable with the preposition el. As we said, that it can either be a separate word, el, or inseparable preposition le. Ha'ish avar el ha'i, el ir, and ha'ish avar le'ir are translated same. The man crossed over to a city. Le'ir or el ir. The preposition lamed can either mean two or four. Ha'ish shalach behemot le'ish. Hu shalach behemot le'ish. He sent animals to a man. Hu shalach le'ish. He sent for a man. Either to a man or for a man. Hu shalach la'ish. He sent for the man. And examples of how preposition be can mean either in, with, or on. Hu malach birushalayim. He ruled in Jerusalem. Hu avar ba behemot. He passed over, crossed over with the animals. He halcha baderech. She walked on the road. And now we do exercises. Exercise 1 is simple. You can do it on your own just to translate the words. Exercise 2 is basically same words but in plural. Also do that. In exercise 3, you translate from English to Hebrew and you practice writing. Exercise 4, read and translate the following sentences. You read the sentences paying attention to whether it's singular, plural, and the prefixes, the prepositions, whether it is definite or indefinite. Exercise 5, you use one word, the verb, and you change it depending on the subject. Shamar, depending if you're talking about a man, woman, plural, singular. Amad, halach, shalach. You have 4 examples, 4 exercises. And exercise 3, read and translate each Hebrew sentence, the main Hebrew sentence, and using that as a guide, translate the English sentences into Hebrew. We did a similar exercise previously, so practice with that. You have 2 exercises like that. And exercise 7, you read the sentence, translate it, and then use one of the 4 choices, or use all of the 4 choices instead of the underlined word, and then see how it's going to change the sentence. Let me give you an example. David malach birushalayim. David ruled in Jerusalem. V'ha'am shamal David, and the nation listened to David. Instead of David, let's replace with Hane'arim. Hane'arim, now when I come to Malach, Na'arim is plural. So plural is Malchu. It's a verb. Hane'arim Malchu Birushalayim. The young man ruled in Jerusalem. V'ha'am shama, and the nation listened to, I have to replace it to Na'arim again. Shama la Ne'arim, because Na'arim is definite. Ha Ne'arim. La Ne'arim. V'ha'am shama la Ne'arim. So that's how you change the voweling, and you change from singular to plural. Then you do Sarah. Sarah is feminine, so you have to change everything to feminine. But it's singular, so you keep it singular. And this way you do all the 6 exercises. On exercise 8, you just read and translate. That should be easy. And mark which ones were difficult, and we'll do it in class next time. We're going to stop here on page 50, 51 with chapter 7.